Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another history lesson. My name is Mike and today we are going to be going back into some more U.S. Army history. Now this is part 1 out of 2 of just the 1900s to the present. So, let's jump right into this. The U.S. played a substantial role in the evolution of the Mexican Revolution. It supported the anti-re-electionist movement, agreed with Bernardo Reyes and Felix Diaz's revolt against Francisco I Madero, helped the revolutionaries defeat Huerta, and invaded Veracruz in 1914. The United States occupation of Veracruz began with the Battle of Veracruz and lasted for 7 months as a response to the Tampico affair of April 9, 1914. The incident came in the midst of poor diplomatic relations between Mexico and the United States and was related to the ongoing Mexican Revolution. The Pancho Villa expedition, now known officially in the United States as the Mexican Expedition, but originally referred to as the Putative Expedition, U.S. Army, was a military operation conducted by the United States Army against the paramilitary forces of Mexican revolutionary Francisco Pancho Villa from March 14, 1916 to February 7, 1917, during the Mexican Revolution of 1910 through 1920. On April 6, 1917, the U.S. joined its allies, Britain, France, and Russia, to fight in World War I under the command of Major General John J. Pershing. More than 2 million U.S. soldiers fought on the battlefields in France. Many Americans were not in favor of U.S. entering the war and wanted to remain neutral. The Meuse-Argonne offensive was a major part in the final Allied offensive of World War I that stretched along the entire Western Front. It was fought from September 26, 1918 until the armistice of November 11, 1918, a total of 47 days. The Treaty of Versailles was the most important of the peace treaties that brought World War I to an end. The treaty ended the state of war between Germany and the Allied powers. The attack on Pearl Harbor was a surprise military strike by the Imperial Japanese Navy Air Service upon the United States, a neutral country at the time, against the naval base at Pearl Harbor in Honolulu, territory of Hawaii, just before 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, December 7, 1941. The attack led to the United States' formal entry into World War II the next day. The Japanese military leadership referred to the attack as the Hawaii Operation and Operation AI and Operation Z during its planning. Japan intended the attack as a preventive action to keep the United States Pacific Fleet from interfering with its planned military actions in Southeast Asia against overseas territories of the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and the United States. Over the course of 7 hours, there were coordinated Japanese attacks on the U.S.-held Philippines, Guam, and Wok Island, and the British Empire in Malaya, Singapore, and Hong Kong. The Philippines Campaign, also known as the Battle of the Philippines or the Fall of Philippines, was from December 8, 1941 to May 8, 1942. The invasion of the Philippines by the Empire of Japan and the defense of the islands by the United States and the Philippine armies during World War II. Landings here were necessary to link the British landings to the east at Gold with the American landing to the west at Utah, thus providing a continuous lodgment on the Normandy coast of the Bay of Sea. Sorry about the notifications, guys. I sort of forgot to turn those off, but we're already in the middle of it, so. Taking Omaha was to be the responsibility of the United States Army troops, with the sea transport, minesweeping, and a naval bombardment force provided predominantly by the United States Navy and Coast Guard, with contributions from the British, Canadian, and Free French navies. Utah, commonly known as Utah Beach, was the codename for one of the 5 sectors of the Allied invasion of German-occupied France in the Normandy landings on June 6, 1944. During World War II, the westernmost of the 5 codenamed landing beaches in Normandy, Utah is one of the Khotan Peninsula west of mouths of the Dove and Vire rivers. Amphibious landings at Utah were undertaken by United States Army troops with sea transport, minesweeping, and naval bombardment force provided by the United States Navy and Coast Guard, as well as elements from the British, Dutch, and other Allied navies. The spring 1945 offensive in Italy, codenamed Operation Grapeshot, was the final Allied attack during the Italian campaign in the final stages of the Second World War. The Potsdam Agreement, German Potsdamer Abkommen, was the August 1945 agreement between three of the allies of World War II: the United Kingdom, the United States, and the Soviet Union. It concerned the military occupation and reconstruction of Germany, its borders, and the entire European theater of war territory. Now that is all we have for part 1, so stay tuned for part 2. Make sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell for notifications to not miss part 2. See y'all in the next one. Peace on out.